25 seconds.
Are you ready, Dave?
Wait,
All right.
how does he get back to the?
Okay, I'd like to call the Mayor and Selectmen meeting, August 11th, 2014, to order, 7 o'clock in the chambers. Would everybody please join me, remove your hats, and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, item 3, public comments. We have a 3-minute limit. Would anybody like to speak? There's another time at the end. Mr. Deneau, how did I know you were going to speak?
Well, because I come here
Okay.
just to let you know that I'm around.
Great.
David Deneau, 85 Vandale, Putnam. At best of my recollection, of course, I'm always willing to be corrected, but Mr. Benoit requested a meeting with Mayor Valderrama, Attorney St. Ange, and Mr. Pentek at minimum regarding the town bidding policies, procedures. And I was hoping that possibly Mr. Benoit could give us an update on that meeting if it has occurred. I wasn't present.
All I can tell you at this stage, the meeting did take place, and there's a lot of issues we went over, and Bill's on vacation right now, and when he comes back, he'll be sending us a draft so we can go over it.
So to be continued is a honorable master.
It was a very, very productive meeting.
Well, good. I'm very glad to hear. The other bit is on item 10, unfinished business. It says here, town administrator contract extension, possible executive session, personal matter matters. As a citizen, I'm curious to know what would classify as personal matters to have an executive session without giving any unwanted details out. How do you determine that you have an executive session?
If it deals with performance.
Pardon?
Performance.
So
If it deals with performance, and then it's not something that's out in the public.
Well, isn't the performance part of, you know...
The final performance review would be,
I see.
however, not the conversations.
I see. So only the printed document of the final review would be available to the public, and what happens between you is considered qualified as executive.
That is correct.
Well, tell them there's 3 of us on the committee. She's the chair.
We'll get there.
It's like negotiations for a contract.
Okay.
All the behind-the-scenes stuff is
Sure,
behind the
sure.
scenes until the final product's used, which is accessible to the public.
Okay, well, good. I'm just, curious. And I don't know when the last time anyone ever asked that question, so now it has to. Thank
We
you
have
very
2 good
much.
chairmen, right, on both of those.
Absolutely sure.
Okay. Approval of, oh. I didn't see that. You stuck me.
He didn't raise his hand,
Words from the dead.
Mr. Book, go right ahead.
476 Woodstock Avenue. You opened up a can of worms, Mr. Mayor, last time I was here. And those worms went everywhere, so I figured I better come back here and let you identify some of those.
Go right ahead.
Look, you talked about water
Mm.
at Wallfield,
Yes.
and then you said water was being charged at all of your buildings.
Yeah.
Then I start to think, we have space downstairs that says water department, and you got clerks down there. Do you charge rent for that space? Do you charge them for the salaries for those people who work here? You send out billing, do they pay you the billing? You do the collection, they charge you charging them for that? They have all kinds of workers, you pay their retirement? In other words, what I'm trying to say is everything one-sided, or is it a two-way street in this town? In
What do you
other
mean, a
words,
two-way street?
well, if you want to give to the water department, they should be giving to you.
They give you water.
Yeah, but you said you're paying for the water for
Everybody's
the
paying for the
public
water.
buildings. And
Yes.
yet you're giving them rent-free rooms
They
downstairs.
pay for
They
that.
pay their
pay
rent.
They pay rent.
The WP's pays rent.
And they pay for
The
those clerks.
They
salaries,
pay for the clerks.
clerks,
Now, how about the billings that go out?
They
and,
pay for that.
They pay all of that?
We come
Well,
up-
it's a sensible question.
the worms are being put back in the can.
And the people that work for, You don't have anything to do with their retirement or any of that?
It's all
Nope.
department.
Okay, so they are totally separate.
And the reason they're here, instead of the building itself, this is central
Convenient,
location.
right? I understand that. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll talk later.
We will. Okay, thank you for the public comments. Approval of the minutes, July 14, 2014, Board of Selectmen minutes. We need a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Alma, second by Owen. Are there any additions or corrections or adjustments to the minutes?
There's discussion.
Discussion coming up. Go, Peter.
Okay. On the Charter Revision Study Committee, I understand there was a meeting on July 15th
Yes,
at
indeed.
6:30, and I was never notified that I'm on that committee.
I thought there was email
Yeah.
that you could make it.
No, I didn't have it on my calendar. I would've put
could
it
be
on my-
missing.
You didn't get the notification?
No.
Okay. My mistake, I'm sorry. That would have made it one.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're almost had.
The other question I had is on the Quinebaug Regional Technology Park. What do we have, where did we stand as far as going on to bid on the bridge?
September 1st. It's going out to bid.
Well, it's September 2nd.
September 2nd. It's getting hot here, huh?
Yes,
That's it?
somebody's talking too loud.
That's it?
What's that?
I don't know.
Does that have anything to do with the minutes you want to have it or?
I think it'll be coming up
Right. It's
on
later in the
Charter
agenda.
Revision
It's not-
Study
It had
Committee.
nothing to do with the minutes, so nobody received them on that.
Right. All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Abstentions? Minutes approved and so ordered. Next, 5, petitions and communications, A, B, C, D, and E are all from Wheelabrator, dealing with truck logs, solid waste, inspection, and monitoring. The report in its entirety can be reviewed in the mayor's office during normal business hours for all 5 of these items. 6, standing reports. General government.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Hey, on that letter, it says there was a malfunction and whatnot. The question, did they replace that recorder? Because I thought he had, and I get the idea from this that they were going to replace it.
Definitely replacement.
My question is, has it been replaced?
Not
It
sure.
says here, we look forward to replacing this chart recorder as soon as the department's approval is received. So it hasn't, that I know of, been replaced.
You're correct.
So we need to get resolution on that. There was another one on number D on the same one, Tony.
E?
D as in David.
Okay.
Was the pH malfunction fixed?
Yes.
Okay. That's the one that he said he did. That's all I had on it.
Set with that? Okay. Codification, Alma, what do you have? Anything?
We have completed the review of the codification. It's going to go, Doug is going to get it together, get our notes together, and it's going to go over to our town planner. Some of it has to do with zoning, so the committee is done with it for now.
Any questions for Alma? Okay. Wheelabrator Contract Review Committee. Douglas, anything?
I'll take that one, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
We're that close to reaching an agreement. Our next meeting is Wednesday, August 27th, 6 p.m. We have a few more items to negotiate, but we're very close.
Now, is this for the expansion?
This is for the expansion and potentially giving us 4 million plus yards, so we would almost double the current life of the land. Our existing capacity, remaining capacity, is right around 4 million. This would potentially add 4 million plus to our current capacity.
Now, the last meeting I went to, they said that the life expectancy would be 12 years. Now, will this add to that?
It would add to that, obviously, it's a function of how much stuff they bring in each year. Based on their reports, Doug and I were talking earlier, they're bringing in, we're getting quite a lot of ash, so it would probably be below the 12-year estimate based on that. So So good news on the horizon. Hopefully we'll have something agreed to, then it'll come to the Board of Selectmen and then ultimately to the taxpayers.
How long of a period is it for?
Well, instead of 40 years, would it reduce it to 30 years?
30 years.
Yeah, 30 years, so
With, with possibility of extension.
extension. Wheelabrator was a subsidiary or a company owned by Waste Management. They've since been sold to a private equity firm. And what was the price tag? $2 billion with a B dollars. So we think the company's pretty well capitalized.
They own the gas plant.
Yep, they own a lot of gas plants. So we're excited. Hopefully we'll have more good news.
Okay, Charter Revision Study Committee, I was at that meeting that Pete Benoit wasn't because he didn't get the form. And Doug, what do we do with the Charter Revision? Is there a meeting coming up?
In September.
Pardon me?
We'll schedule a meeting in September, after the Labor Day and the holidays. Or
Okay,
vacation.
that's fine. And as well with the Facilities Study Committee?
We can schedule that anytime.
Okay. Who's the chairman of that committee?
Alan.
Alan Watson? Okay. Staff reports, economic and community development, we have all the staff reports out there. Delphi has extra stuff we do. Ben Delphi.
Okay, just a couple things that I'd like to add. There was a presentation made to the Putnam Business Association. Some of you are very familiar with the wayfinding project, the design guidelines that were looked at, and the no smoking sign in our public places have all been looked at through and designed by the wayfinding. They identified all of the informational areas that we should go to. There was also talk of doing on some of our informational signs a QR code that if you have a smartphone that you can get all your information, everyone's websites on a QR code for any of the informational signs. The local gentleman, Michael McCourt, has 11 media stations in downtown businesses, the screens that are showing both advertising and all the economic development projects, and they are, he is proposing to the PBA to do an informational kiosk that will be totally computerized and interactive, so that anyone who wants to come to Putnam can either look at the QR code or can interactively touch any of the sponsors' information on there or any of the businesses. I think we're ready to take off here. And,
Those things are on.
Pretty good.
I hope they're on pretty well.
can you still hear me?
Yeah.
And so everything will be computerized so that anyone coming in wanting to find out anything about Putnam, it will be totally interactive, and we're looking at putting it near the public restrooms, which will be in the center of town. So they will be supported through sponsorships. The GED Media is purchasing the kiosk. It will be all weatherized and that kind of thing. So it's pretty exciting news. There's none of these that we know of east of the river. So, and tomorrow, there are 6 staff members coming from the Connecticut Department of Tourism and the Office of the Arts, and they will be touring northeastern Connecticut. They will be in Putnam from about 1:30 to 3 o'clock. So they'll be having lunch here. We're giving them a very small reception of lemonade, and we're walking them through the downtown businesses and things like that. So they've had a couple tours, so if anyone would like to join up with that, please feel free to do so. Many of you know, through the Department of Tourism, we were voted number 2. Westport took number 1. Yeah, it was like 2 days before the voting was done, but we held first place for the longest time. So out of 169 towns, and if you look at the map of Connecticut, they starred the top 10, and we were the only one in, I would say, the eastern third, northeast third of the state. So we should be very, very proud of that.
Was it Mystic still on there again?
Mystic is number 4. Westport number 1, Putnam number 2, number 3 is Niantic, and number 4 is Mystic. So that's pretty exciting.
So we get anything for being number 2?
A handshake.
Yeah, we'll be presented something in
Yeah,
the.
you like it, but
the
you
fall
try harder.
conference.
I don't think we can pay for that marketing. Yes, and I think it's, we should be very prideful. We get a plaque, but I'm not sure, I think it's really what we've done that really makes the difference. Yeah. So that's all I wanted to add, thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Next time, we're going to have you go with them to recount the votes. And we're going to charge you for the lemonade.
Oh, one of the businesses is donating it.
All right.
I don't have an expense account, remember?
Building officials, ZEO report, that's up here. Anybody have any questions on that? Town planner, the report's up there. Anybody have any questions for Don? Go ahead.
I have one. How big is the state's strategic transportation plan? Are we talking 50-page document or 500-page document? About
It's more like
5,000?
between 50 and 100 pages.
Okay. Because I'd love to get a copy of that and see.
Maybe I can send you a link to it. I think I downloaded it.
Perfect, thank you.
No, I'll do that.
1,500 pages?
No,
200.
not 1,500. I think it's
No,
somewhere
50 to
between 50 and
100.
100.
The fans are blasting. I couldn't hear
50
you.
and 100. somewhere between-
Yeah, that's not bad.
Okay, we don't have an assessor's report. Town administrator, number 9. Does anybody have any questions for Doug? His report. He remains unscathed. Unfinished business. Town administrator contract extension. Alma, this is your baby. Possible executive session, personal matters.
We actually sat with Doug, the committee sat with Doug this afternoon. We got some things that we need to discuss, so we're going to have a meeting, and then we'll be bringing it to the selectmen meeting next time.
Perfect. He doesn't look too nervous. Hope he didn't give him a big raise.
Raised? We don't know that word, that's not in the vocabulary.
10B, Winnabogue Region Tech Park. Doug, we're going to give you that one.
I'm happy to announce that the Tech Park, as you already know, Tech Park bids for the roadway and the bridge are going out September 2nd. They will be advertised for 30 days. We'll open the bids on October 2nd. We'll give a notice if CME has assured me that they can review the bids and all the documentation that whatever the lowest bid is, the company submits, and we'll be able to give them the notice to proceed within 7 days. That should give them the opportunity to start work on to get mobilized onto the site and to start work. There's even a possibility that they, well, you might know this, but there's even a possibility of being able to put the concrete abutments in through the winter, as long as they're protected properly. So one of the things that is part of the contract is right now, and this is just a placeholder, but there would be liquidated damages if they don't fulfill the requirements of the contract within a certain period. Right now, we're looking at 240 days, but we had expected that it would be 12 months to 14 months. So just a question of what that final number will be, and we'll get that number to you.
And for the general public, if you come off exit 95 and look right across, we had Jerry Bosleigh's crew cut some trees down to know exactly where it's going, and there'll be a sign put up sometime this week exactly where it's going. So people have an idea, this is where the bridge is going to start. I talked to them about a street light, and I thought the state would do that. No, that's going to be on Putnam, and it's a very expensive operation. And not only do you put the street light in, you have to pay for the continuing electricity, but for safety reasons, it was best sought to put a light there. It may aggravate some people because of going on the ramp, but for the safety value, it's going to be well worth it.
Street light or traffic light?
Traffic
light,
Street
okay.
light.
Well,
You
there
know-
are places along
Well,
there that
I-
could use street lights too.
That's
so.
true.
Is that a clear span bridge, or is there an abutment in the middle of the road?
No, it's a clear span.
Okay, items.
The other thing is on a bad news note, that we did not get awarded the 2014 STEEP grant. I asked OPM today, what the reason was, and they said there were so many other good projects that there just wasn't enough money to go around.
That was to the tech park, right?
And I thought maybe it was because it was phase 2 of the second part of phase 1 that we're talking about, but I've seen other towns go, back once, 2 or 3 times to get different phases of the project, so that could have been the deciding factor. So
But the good news is, I hadn't factored in receiving the steep grant into our calculations, thank God. And so the numbers still are the numbers, and we're all set.
And the other good news is that the next round is going to be coming up in another 2 to 3 weeks, and they encourage us to reapply.
And if you notice in Arch Bulletin, we didn't cry like they did in Griswold, because they didn't get their steep grant, they just moaned. And the next story right below was their adult entertainment section in town. So you will figure that one out. Okay, quit claim deed to YMCA Greater Hartford.
The language is pending with the YMCA now, so until they sign off on it.
Okay.
There are 3 components of it. The quitclaim deed is, of course, the description of the land that we'll be transferring to them. There's a conservation easement that's required by the environmental impact evaluation that we had done. That's included in it. And now there's an additional language that Wheelabrator wanted to have incorporated into the deed that controls how it will be protected so that there's kids not running across the street from the YMCA property where the building is over to the field. So the Wheelabrator, and it hasn't been determined yet whether the Y has signed off on that language, but we included that in the draft that Wheelabrator wanted some sort of review of what the mechanisms were to protect from people crossing the highway at that point.
Okay, thank you. C, I know Selectman Penbeck and Selectman Benoit were worried about electric bills. So have we done the research on these electric bills?
We are going to, there's 2 different companies that I'm going to be sending out our bills to. One is our existing TransCanada to see if they'll pick up the rest of the bills. And there's another one, Tradition Energy. We're with Sparks now, and they got us in at a low point, and then they just raised the rates significantly after they got us our account. But there's still a number of companies out there that we're going to submit our bills to and see if they'll pick up these accounts at a much lower rate.
Okay. Item D, 10D is Town of Putnam bid ordinance. That meeting did take place in Attorney St. Ange's office between Doug.
He has an interested party in the tech park that just called me, who was in a meeting, and she needs a phone call right back, so I dispatched him to return that phone
Nice.
call.
So, for the record, it was a very productive meeting. Some of the stuff, Mr. Denome, is legal, and we can't divulge it right now on the bidding process. As soon as he gets back from vacation, which is only 2 weeks of the year that St. Ange takes, and he's up in Sandwich or Granger or somewhere up there, Cape Cod. He'll formalize that. I told him, when you're on the beach with your pipe, the bottle of Heineken, right. So it'll be all taken care of. It was some big issues were taken care of that settled Pete's mind. I walked out of there very happy. I don't know.
That was fine.
So
It
it's
cleared up a lot of things.
cleared up a lot of things that we had issues with. I know I did, Pete did, we fought like hell. We were on the Board of Finance together on the bidding ordinance. Now that's taken care of. So we're just going to cement it in. Okay. Grant considerations and updates. That's basically Doug's baby. We'll wait until he comes back. Let's go on to new business. Consider granting a temporary pistol permit to John Malloy.
Make that motion.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor of issuing the temporary pistol permit to Mr. Malloy, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have and so voted. John here?
Yep.
John, get your pistol permit.
Thank you very much.
Granting a temporary pistol permit to Gary LaFortune.
So moved.
So motion made, second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of giving Gary LaFortune a pistol permit, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Gary, get your permit.
Thank you.
Item C, sidewalk handicap ramp bids. You got it in your package. I was amazed at the disparity in these bids from $57,000 to $200-some-odd thousand.
Do we have any sense of why there's that big a gap?
Why does Walmart charge one price, Kmart charge another price? And
See, even 2 or 3 times the difference I could see, but one is 5 times.
I know.
Over 5 times.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Why did we open it in an envelope as than what we're supposed to do in the bid process.
You got me on that one. I asked the same question today.
Who opened the bids?
Denise, Jerry did?
And we make sure that we really get back to that, because that's really...
That's part of the new bid ordinance. So when you get those bids, Denise, you can't let Jerry open them. He could be here when we open them, but the selectmen have to open them.
Supposed to be because of the deadline or something?
No.
No, it's part of the process.
Process.
No,
I
I'm
know.
saying, is that why they did it? Because there was some
No,
sort of deadline? that
We
they-
wait for
something
this
was
for 4
printed?
years.
Yeah, I'm just asking.
And part of the thing is, Jerry convinced us the town could do it cheaper than anybody else. Doug, you deal with cement and stuff like that. You're going to take out a section of the sidewalk, throw it out, put a new one in with the lower thing. $258,000 to $57,000? Does that make any sense?
No, I saw that. I don't know what to think.
The two guys were within $1,000,
Yeah.
157, 58, and the other one?
They asked Jerry if any of these places have done work for us. He said he didn't think so, So do we have to award that bid tonight?
No, you can't award it until the state gives you the approval. We put that on the agenda hoping that the state might expedite their consideration, so.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. So we're just waiting for the state. I just wanted to slip that in.
Another thing I didn't understand was the two low bids were almost identical.
Right.
Yeah, I got $1,000 off.
And the two high bids were
Almost identical.
pretty
No,
close
the
to...
big high are over 100,000.
Yeah, 150.
Yeah, but they were way out in left field.
Well, my question is the two low bids, is somebody going to vet them if they've
Yes.
never done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that part of what the state does?
That's part of what the
Okay, yeah.
Another project, we approved $500,000 for sidewalks. And to avoid possible lawsuits for bricks that are loose, to avoid a
We
lawsuit,
already have lawsuits.
we got a lawsuit, but just to avoid future lawsuits.
Yes.
I had a meeting with Jerry Bosley this morning with Doug, and the project is to rip the sidewalks from post office all the way up to Bugby's Corner and around to the Bradley Theater. Across the street, 85 Main, Bella, down to Chickrins.
Okay.
Take all the sidewalk out of there. Pour a sidewalk and then red stamp it or concrete stamp it, whatever they do, so it looks like brick, but it'll be solid. Across the street, go to Putnam Bank, all the way down the other side, right down to the AT&T building. The total cost will be between $75,000 and $100,000 of the $500,000. And we would be,
You're gonna get that done for that amount?
Stamp concrete, all that for 75?
It's only a brick wide.
Only a brick wide.
Yeah.
What do you
You mean the entire sidewalk looks like brick or just...
No, just the border,
just the curb?
just the border on the sidewalk.
I told Jerry, that looks stupid, do the whole thing. He said, now you're talking about using all of $500,000.
Yeah.
How's that gonna look? What kind of condition is, it looks like the sidewalks there are in halfway...
Downtown, they're in pretty good shape.
Pretty good shape.
But it's just these brick pavers that we've used that are coming up.
Yes. Dangerous.
And we have people, Steve Adams, that's basically his bread and butter right now. It's
Well, that'll also add to the decor of the
very much so.
downtown.
And also in front of St. Mary's Cemetery, there's some nasty spots there.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, Walnut Street is another one that's,
Mhm.
you only have,
Yeah, Walnut's the
but you only have
worst.
so much money.
Right.
You know?
And the other thing is, because we're doing the water line replacement, you don't want to get too far ahead with our sidewalk replacements.
Right.
Because we're working in conjunction with Jerry with the water, because they have to rip up the street. If you rip up the street, you know the sidewalks are going to get
Ripped up.
ripped up. So after they put the pipes in, those sidewalks will be taken out.
What about Grove Street?
It's tough.
We have a list. There is a list.
No problem.
Delphi was involved in that, and Jerry.
Grove Street is top
Yeah.
places.
I just want to thank you.
No problem.
Have a good evening.
Happy hunting.
Yes.
You never know, ISIS could be in our backyard.
Well, this project, though, I thought this funding is just for the corner ramps, not
Yeah.
for full sidewalk
Right.
replacement,
Right.
right? Yeah, there's, down by, the circle there, by the War Memorial, there are a couple of those are getting sidewalk ramps.
I didn't realize how much money it cost to replace replace the sidewalk.
Yeah, you don't get a lot for your money.
I think I mentioned a month or two ago, every single time I've gotten a phone call for a quote to redo a sidewalk on a town or a state road, I haven't gotten it, and no one else has gotten it either, because the homeowner sees how expensive it is to do it.
Now, when you do a sidewalk, you lay that wire mesh there first?
If it's specified in the plans, I do, but I actually don't like doing that because it makes it a bugger to pull back out when it needs to come out. And you can't recycle that concrete
No?
if it's got steel in it, because it can't be crushed.
Does it make sense to use it then?
Like I say, most of the times I try not to use it.
Let's shoot back up to 11. Doug, grant consideration and updates on that?
Nothing new on
Nothing?
the grant front now.
So we skipped that for...
We're waiting for that, we're waiting for nothing.
I am.
How the phone call may go.
Very well.
Good.
I was able to address their questions.
Okay. Extension agreement, municipal solid waste recycling bulky waste contract. This is with Willimantic Waste Paper. Vote is required. This will run till June 30, 2017.
Did we ever go out to bid on this?
Yes, we did. Initially, we went out to bid 3 years ago. It was
Okay.
awarded to Wheelwright, and now the contract allows us to extend the contract. And Jerry and I have discussed it, and we would recommend that we extend it. There's a possibility you can extend it for two-year periods, but we think split the difference instead of going out the full 4 years to give them a 3-year extension.
So we didn't go out
No.
to bid?
But did they exercise their escalator here? The
Yes,
3%
it actually is less than 3%. It's the CPI increase for this year.
Okay.
They held their price for 3 years, so. And they even had, wanted to get a fuel escalator clause in there, which we didn't agree with initially, so.
So at what point in time would you go out for bid, the next time around?
After 3 years, we would suggest we go out to bid again.
Because I noticed it was either 2 or 3% increase, and it would be the low one rather than...
Right, it's either the CPI or the 3%,
Whichever
whichever
is
is less.
low.
Which is
Low,
less.
right.
He initially had given us a contract extension with the 3%. I said, time out. Go back and look at the contract, so.
So what's your pleasure on this?
I move we accept it.
Second. Motion made to accept the municipal waste, recycled bulky waste to Willimantic Waste Paper up until June 30, 2017. Motion made, second. Any more discussion?
What was the old rate?
Three something, that was both recycling and,
So it's
what
only...
is that one?
173,
40.
40.
So it's about 330, I think.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
it's very difficult for me to vote on something. I don't even know what it is, I haven't seen anything, there's no paperwork, there's no documentation.
In our packet.
It was in the packet?
Yeah.
Doug, that's when I first saw it too. It was in the packet.
I gotta open my eyes.
As you get older, and crushing that concrete takes an effect on you.
Almost there. Yeah, keep going. It's after the colored page.
Is it after the quick claim?
No, it's after the
Yeah.
bid opening, sidewalk ramp.
Help them out, Denise. Speaking of the sidewalk ramp thing, you were on the telephone. and Jerry opened those bids, and by the new bidding orders that we're talking about, he's not supposed to. It's supposed to come here. The selectmen's bid. So if those bids come in, like the next bid coming in would be the bridge, right? We got to open it, not Jerry. You sit there, he sits there, she sits there, and then you open it and say, okay, let's discuss it. Can't be just Jerry by himself.
Okay.
So I would suggest, instead of having it like at a 2 p.m. date like you did on the last bid, have them at a set selectmen's meeting.
Right,
It could be the first thing we discuss right off the bat.
right.
You have it there, Peter?
Yeah.
think Peter took it out of your package, no?
Oh, that's it, okay.
Aha.
There it
Aha.
is.
You don't have to apologize either. It's okay. It's okay. You have to vote. I'll give Doug time to look at that.
While he's looking at that, our current revenue stream with the stickers is enough to,
No, the sticker revenue does not cover the only thing we cover on that is the burn bill, our
okay.
fees at the burn.
So what I'm
Yeah, don't we
saying,
have .6 mils going towards the costs of picking up the trash?
you're saying what I'm looking at is our contribution margin. If this, the 171, and the 171 is what we say 340 something.
Yeah.
And before it was 330 something. So that differential is going to be made up how?
By the general government budget. It was factored into the budget this year.
It's factored into this year.
General
Right,
government,
there's
so what line item is
CPI
that?
increase.
Excuse me?
What line item is
It's
that?
municipal solid waste,
Solid waste.
So we're covered this year, all right.
and it's covered at 3% this year, where we reduced a little bit.
We reduced it.
Right.
But the sticker fund does not cover the entire cost.
No,
So we have to use
general government funds.
general government funds, taxes, to make up the difference.
Right.
And if I remember correctly, a few years ago when Bobby Vians was mayor, he went into that trash sticker fund because there was a surplus and he took money out and put it towards the budget. Everybody remember that? Yeah. Good. All right, I've read it, thank you.
Okay. Motion made and seconded on the municipal solid waste recycling bulky waste contract. 3 years to June 30, 2017, and awarded to Willimantic Waste Paper.
No, 17.
17.
I'll split the difference,
Oh,
because they're allowed to.
Sorry.
You gotta solve track with the stickers. Must be on the pass here. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it, so voted. Request to waive building fee for Foster Corporation. Will require, we received some information, and I think the best one is this piece of paper. Did you get this, Doug? Item building fee waiver request submitted by Foster Corporation for the Board of Selectmen August 11th. Town administrator approval, blank. Item summary, Foster Corporation requests their building fee be waived for the first phase of the expansion of 36 Ridge Road. The entity pay over $30,000 in taxes annually on its existing real estate, personal property, and auto. The cost of this expansion is approximately $8 million for complete phase one, including equipment. So the financial summary would be approximately $44,000. Staff recommendation, Delphin M. Very. Town attorney review, I don't know if that happened. Board of selection action and supporting material, and you have a list of things in here. What's your
I thought we weren't going to do this at all.
We have no authority to do it. We're not allowed to. There's an ordinance that allows it only for municipal projects, defined narrowly as projects actually undertaken by the town and Board of Education. So the middle school we can waive. Day Kimball, we can't even waive. A private company, we definitely can't waive.
In 2013, per our town attorney, there is an ordinance in place regarding building fees, see attachment A, that does not mention the waiver of fees. Given that, in order to waive building fees, the Board of Selectmen would have to call a town meeting to revise the entire ordinance. Then you have all the other stuff in here.
Yeah.
Chapter 175, building construction, blah, 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 you got all that stuff.
Be that as it may, just beyond what you just indicated already, the ordinance doesn't cover it. And I think it would just set a bad precedence if you were to do that, because then you would have to give it to everybody that would ask for it in the future. So that's why we already are bound by our ordinance, and we ought to follow our ordinance in this regard.
Yeah, as Peter and I talked earlier, that I disagree with him in some ways. I think we could allow waiver within certain designated districts if we wished. For example, the industrial park, the new tech park, you know, whatever district, whatever, like we have the IHOD district, these are districts created by zoning. We could arguably do that and create a precedent only for businesses in those districts. Whether or not we want to is a different story, but I think we would have the power to allow it within certain districts if we give a good justification for wanting to encourage development specifically in those districts.
Right?
But that's a big policy decision.
Yeah, that's a policy one, and I would be totally against that because.
We're gonna get the can of worms again,
I'm,
you know?
Yeah, no, but it would be a bad decision because here you have two, you got an industrial park and you got a new tech park.
Right.
We already said we weren't going to give all the bells and whistles to the new tech park. So why would you go ahead and give it to one person and not the other? You stick by the ordinance, then you don't have any problems with precedent.
I don't want to open any bad wounds. You remember the debacle on 88 Main Street?
Right.
Yeah, that was for what, $4,000?
Yeah.
This is $44,000,
Yeah.
or whatever.
And the only reason, I wasn't a selectman at the time, but I attended those meetings, and the only reason that it happened is because a promise was made
Right.
by a public official that didn't have the authority, but a promise is a promise, and it was a way to get out of it without being sued. So
Right.
you know, with the new tech park coming in, we talked to the other towns about tax waivers and things like that, and going into it, we said there was no plan on that other than whatever state incentives were offered, so I would have a hard time approving this.
Yes, back to the matter is, in 2005, the townspeople of Putnam enacted an ordinance that did not allow for us to waive fees for commercial projects. It's not allowed. So
Right, well, no.
we can discuss it, it's just that there's no way for us to legally do anything
Right now.
right now.
The question is whether we would want to
But that's
propose
for another
a
day.
different ordinance to change that. Right, but today we have no power.
So because of that, I don't think there's need to vote on this issue.
There's nothing to vote on.
Nothing to vote on.
Yeah, it's just not.
Okay, moving on. Here we go. Water at Tar Park. Owen, you're the chairman of the Recreation. Has your committee mentioned anything or doing anything?
Well, we met with you and Doug and Willie and Jimmy Shaw. We were trying, it cost us, what, $4,000 for like one quarter a few years ago. So we haven't even used water on that field for 3 years now because we couldn't afford it in our budget. But now we've come to the point that we've got to reseed quite a bit of that field. We need water. There's over, from starting pretty soon now until late in the fall, there's 400 kids every single week use that property. So we spoke to Jimmy Shore and he said he couldn't give us the water for nothing because that he's buying to the state law.
Right.
But what he did tell us that we could go and have a public hearing. The rec department is willing to pay $4,000 a year for the water for that park. Right now, we pay nothing, so that's $4,000 more they're gonna get that they haven't got for 3 years.
What do they need though, Is 4,000 going to cover it?
No. I think we need water there probably half of May, June, July, August, and half of September maybe. So in the growing season. So we're willing to do $4,000. What Jimmy said we'd have to go have a public hearing and put forth what we want to do. We want to pay $4,000 for whatever water we need. It's not going to cost the people that have water in town because they're needed. on what they use personally. So it's not gonna cost you more money on your bill.
So where's it, what line item is it coming out of?
Right, well, we have a $4,000 line item that we've had in the rec department for a long time.
Or it's
Right,
in the
but-
rec department?
Right, but
Yeah.
you said, but I thought you said that the park would need more than $4,000
It is,
worth a
yeah.
year.
So where is it
So-
for?
But it's not gonna cost, the average homeowner more money because they're metered.
Okay.
Whatever they use, they use.
So they're just, it's gonna be sort of like a leaky pipe in the street, the water just isn't, yeah.
I mean, we have to go through a public hearing, and then it has to come through a town meeting, and then all the townspeople have to agree that that park would be able to use as much water as they
It's
need.
a flat rate for
For a
4,000.
flat rate for $4,000 for the year.
And pray Mother Nature comes through.
So what are you gonna do for the access that you need? If you only get 4,
No,
And
we're gonna use more than four.
Flat rate.
The flat
Hey.
rate.
So we're willing to pay for the rec department for, that's what we're willing to pay, that's been on our budget, and, I mean, Doug can come in, say whatever, but I think, I said what we talked about, so we have to have a public hearing, and then we have to have a town meeting for the public to approve us, because, we got 400 kids up there every
I'm
week.
agreeing, I want to think, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. But what specific line item is this coming out of?
It comes out the rec department.
The rec
It's all
department.
For that.
Yeah, but
It's
what
already-
line item in
It's
the?
already in there. It's underwater.
It's underwater, so you got 4,000 allocated, is
Yeah.
that it?
Yeah.
So, but you're gonna need a little
For
more
sure you're
than
gonna,
that.
I have no idea what that's gonna be. But we,
break
in order for us to get it for $4,000, we have to go to the public hearing, and we have to have
So
a
we
town
do
meeting.
it.
But
Doug.
that's what we're trying to do.
Right now, what are we facing in terms of the situation up there, right now?
Right, well, we might have to shut the park down this fall, because we gotta put some grass in, we gotta keep people off of it. But if we get water so we can water it, maybe we don't have to shut it down as much as we think.
Okay. The only reason why I asked that is, well, we're at a new firehouse. We've been watering our new lawns with our fire trucks. There's no other way to get water there right now, so I was just wondering if the two fire departments could get together and go up there if you needed water.
We got a sprinkling system there.
I understand, but if you can't use that water
Why can't we
for
use
a time period, maybe the fire departments could kick in until then.
No, I think,
You're saying if
But
you need
either
any
way,
additional
they'd be
water-
getting free water is
Right,
the issue.
You see, we
Right.
pay a rental on our hydrants.
Right.
Oh,
So we don't actually pay for water, we pay for hydrants.
okay.
So we could go to the hydrant a million times,
And pay the
And
same
run it all
as,
dry.
yeah.
yeah.
but as long as we pay our,
Which is what
But-
kind of.
But isn't your rental of the hydrants specifically for putting out fires? You could just go
Our
take that
district
water
rent-
and resell
our
it to
dis-
customers in
as
their
best as
district?
I can tell, our district rents hydrants.
It may be subject to change.
Spoken like a real
I don't
fire
think it was our intent that you go and water everybody's
Yeah,
fields.
I understand.
Yeah.
But I thought in a pinch, if
No, we're gonna,
if the town needed help,
we're gonna use we haven't used our 4,000 yet, but we're gonna start using a little bit.
Right now,
But,
it is.
yeah, we're gonna need more, than that.
If you're gonna reseed, just going back to my landscaping days, you're gonna reseed, I don't want anybody on that field.
Yeah.
No matter
Right.
how much water you have.
Yeah.
'Cause that
For
seed,
how long?
September is the perfect month to do
September.
it. So you do it in
So
September.
we're gonna restrict,
Germinate, and then you do it again. You can let people on in the spring, but you let that stuff germinate and don't let anybody.
First of all, where Owentar Park is, it's like the gateway of Putnam.
Right.
Who wants to see a dust bowl there?
Right.
That's number one. I've got more comments when the lights are on, the kids are playing, who's playing football, who's playing soccer, and it's just great. And Willie and the rec department get criticized, in their budget year after year. But yet, no one criticized them yesterday when we had about 15,000 people in town spending money to the local merchants. And we had the Real Diamond concert, he had 6,000 or 7,000. No one criticized the recreation department then. It's, oh, they need water?
for performance center too. The rec department did all that.
So the problem, here's the problem I see right now.
Tell me the problem.
The problem is, even if, like Scott said, if you reseeded it in September, you wouldn't have use of the field until next year.
Right.
Unless you can
There's
water
one-
it,
there's
unless
one
you
that-
can
no,
water
even
it
if you
and
can water it.
maintain it.
Right.
Right, even if
There's
you
one
can.
willing, they know what they're doing anyway. There's one end of the field needs it worse than the other. So they might have them go down to the other end and not use the end where we need to see the
Right.
most, so.
Now, the Board of Ed bought, in conjunction with another town, a slicer seeder.
Yeah.
So, so there's a,
Whatever that is.
that's you? So there's a slicer seeder, which is a better way to make sure the seed germinates that the town has, that help you guys out. But,
Yeah.
so how do you want this structured?
Well,
We have-
I think we have to set a public hearing.
No, I'm talking about the vote tonight, to send it to a public hearing?
Right, that's the
Okay.
one, yeah.
So we need a motion.
Public hearing and a town meeting later to follow.
A motion for what?
For
To send
us,
this
we
flat
have
rate
to-
agreement.
We have to get the townspeople to okay this, and we have to do it through a public hearing, and then we have to do it through a town meeting.
This is to get access
That's,
to water.
that's state law,
Right,
we have to do
To
it.
Flat
set
rate.
a flat rate.
Flat rate agreement of 4,000 per year, unlimited use, kind of like your fire.
Just for the, just for the municipality, though.
Because you know,
Nobody else can do it.
Peter, you know there's so many naysayers at Putnam. They'll be thinking they're getting cheated.
No, but they're metered, like
I
you
know
said.
they're metered, but they still think in their mind, we're giving the park free water, but we have to pay.
Right.
You see? So at a public hearing, this will all be explained to people.
Right.
And then they have the option to vote. If they say no, it's no.
But I think
Doug.
we should,
I don't understand why we have to go to a public hearing.
Because that's what,
It's
that's
a
what,
WPCA
that's what
one.
WPCA, that's what, Jimmy told us that the only way he could let us have the water for a certain rate for the whole year, and it has to go through that process, that's the only way the state would let them do it.
So it's a WPCA public hearing, not a town public hearing.
No.
No, it'd be a town public.
The state controls.
You get it?
The
See where I'm going?
WPCA.
Yeah,
Okay, it'll be there,
Yeah.
it'd be there.
right.
They have-
You
They have to come
have-
back to you to request.
Because
it.
it's about rates, so the WPCA, every time they do something with regard to rates, needs a public hearing.
So it's a WPCA public hearing.
We'd have to move this to that.
So do
They're
we,
meeting Thursday night, I think it might be on the agenda.
So let me get this clear, town administrator. Someone has to make a motion to bring this to the WPCA.
Right.
okay.
That's
But
the-
we're not setting the meeting, we're just sending it to the
That's right.
WPCA.
They
But
come
once
back to
they
you,
get
and
it-
what they come back, they'll set the public hearing, they'll come back to you at the public hearing to
Okay.
set.
You want that motion?
Yes.
Town
Yeah.
meeting date.
Motion made by Doug Cutler, second by Scott.
discussion.
Discussion.
What's the cost that you're gonna pay for the water?
$4,000
That's
for
gonna
the
be
whole year.
for the whole year. And what is that going to be in terms of what the average citizen pays? So we don't know that.
It's
Because they may
probably,
ask that question.
okay.
They may ask the question at the town
Put
meeting.
it this way.
Peter,
My
if
bill
our last-
yearly is 1,000.
I was gonna say, if their bill, if the last time they really used water was 3 years ago, and it was $4,000, take a look at what water rates have increased since then, multiply $4,000 by those rate increases, and you'd have an estimate of how much in current water dollars it would be.
Well, I got the impression that they weren't gonna be paying the same rate into the homeowners.
It's just gonna be a fixed,
Flat.
They're not.
flat rate.
$4,000 no matter
Right.
how much they use.
Right. Oh, okay.
Right.
They can use whatever. Right.
We're not gonna run it day and night.
No. I'm just-
Motion made and seconded. See, there's no more discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Ayes have it, so voted. Okay, G, consider reappointment of Rose Chattel to the Housing Authority.
So moved. Second.
To reappoint Rose Chattel for a term to expire 2016. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Rose is in. Consider the reappointment of Eddie Lassard, Housing,
Second.
term to last in 2017. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Reappointment of Town Administrator Cutler to the Access Agency for a term to expire December 1, 2015.
So
So-
moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
No, well then.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, J, consider approval of a Diaper Need Awareness Week proclamation.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I signed it, but I don't know what the hell it is, but what's that sign?
Second, when I read the second, I'm sorry.
I'll be a second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. K, approval of bills.
I move we approve all bills.
Cut
me out.
That's right. We have a motion approved, is there a second? Now for discussion after? You second it? Okay, discussion, Pete.
All right, there was some bills today that we signed that were already paid.
Ooh.
That has to be corrected.
You approved bills already paid, give me an example.
Already paid. They're in the, it was like about 4 or 5 of them, something like that.
They got paid before they were approved.
Right?
Right. Got the ones with the checks for it, the checks were still there. So then they didn't pay it, but they still had the check.
They paid them. They made out the check.
Yeah, but the check was still there.
No, the check wasn't there. What is this? They were paid.
I don't know.
I don't know if the mail was sent. The point of the matter is they're supposed to be approved first. So all I'm trying to say is, we ought to speak to the person involved with this to make sure that this is covered. That's all I'm trying to bring up.
Peter, I'll take care of that tomorrow morning, first thing.
Thank you.
There was also a past due bill that we had signed off on previously. I don't know
Right.
how that
There's
got.
one passage
Okay. With that, all those in favor of approving the bills, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it, so voted. Any other business to lawfully come before this meeting?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
if I may, we have the rate bill that needs to be signed by all the selectmen.
Start signing, Doug, and pass
for
them
the
along.
revenue collector.
Okay, the bill's being passed around here. Last item, public comment. Mr. Perry, Angie, we haven't heard from you yet.
Yes, John Perry, 11 Bull Street. I'd like to ask Mr. Omentar a question. I know the field you want to reseed and stuff, but how can you reseed a field when they years ago, when they took the school down, the contractor that did the job skimmed off half of that dirt to fill in the areas that needed dirt? How can you get a good lawn to come in?
We had a good lawn there before, you know, it was fine. We haven't had any water in that field in 3 years.
Well, the other question is, the last 2 to 3 years, I haven't seen anybody come and fertilize the field like they were doing.
I don't know about that, but, you know.
If you don't fertilize the field, you're not gonna have good grass.
That's true.
We've had less water too this year than normally speaking. My lawn says so.
I just, living on the backside of the field, I've
They're
seen.
probably doing just sleeping.
No,
When
I'm
you're
up
taking
at
your
dawn.
walk around town.
Yeah,
that's right.
they wait for him to take the walk.
Yeah. There he goes.
Yeah,
I'll ask Willie, I have no clue.
I know you're trying to get, but with all those kids every year,
Yeah.
spring and fall,
Yeah.
it's gonna be almost impossible to keep that field nice.
Other
No.
places do it. I would like to think.
That's got to be checked with Willie.
Worst year.
Okay. My other question is, down by, on Kennedy Drive, by the laundromat,
Yeah.
that sidewalk there, it's totally buckling up. Is there a way they can fix that? Our town guys, without having to hire somebody, take that one section out?
Is it a town sidewalk?
Yep.
Where is it?
With the, on Kennedy Drive, by the laundromat, where the old PJs.
But why do you think that's a town sidewalk?
Well, it's not Route 44.
No, it's right on Kennedy Drive.
No, it's on Kennedy, it's around the corner.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's not a
No.
state road, it's a town road.
It's up to the property owners in front of there. It's their responsibility
Yeah.
according to state law.
Oh,
Right.
so-
This is our sidewalk.
Okay.
You know what I don't understand though about that?
But
We keep saying, oh, it's the homeowner's responsibility to maintain and repair the sidewalk.
Right.
Okay? But no one does it because it's too expensive.
Correct.
And
The
so we
state
have,
doesn't want
how
to
much
do
money
that.
do we have,
Charge less,
how much money do we have in our budget to do sidewalks?
500,000.
500,000. So who winds up doing it in the end? We
But
do.
we need the money to do it with first, unless you want to add that to
What
our
I'm getting
budget.
at is no one's going to do it.
They have the
Right,
same
but
problem
we know
in
this.
Brooklyn, Killeen, Lee, no matter where you go.
No,
one's
that's
gonna do
not,
it.
that's not entirely true. I know at least one house on Grove Street that redid their own sidewalk within the past 5 years. There are some people who care about how their property looks and has the income and is able to do it.
I've been in business since 1999, and that's the
Right.
one example. 16 years, higher down.
Did you get the job?
See?
Mr. Bo, you're next.
Thank you. Every meeting is talked about parking in the town. And
We didn't talk about it tonight.
Parking Special Services District, if it's.
Well, it is working.
Mr. Mayor here has decided to deal with the police chief about parking. So I'm sure he's going to talk to us about his meeting. But before he does, I'd like to bring up something.
Go ahead.
They, Special Services, passed a new ordinance about parking. And the south side of Front Street supposedly is allowed parking, but it is not marked. So is it town's garage is supposed to go mark this? See, the problem is, Front Street, is where the Bradley Theater is.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
It's marked on that side, okay, the north side. And people park there.
Right.
The yellow line in the road is exactly in the middle. Okay? On the south side of the Front Street, it is not marked. But the ordinance says you can park there. So what do? They park on the sidewalk, sometimes 4 wheels on the sidewalk, sometimes blocking the driveway on the sidewalk. So is it up to you to go and mark that so that people know where they're supposed to park?
I thought
I
we
think,
were
I
waiting
think
for
they put,
signs.
I thought they put signs up on one side and the state came and took them down. I think
Yeah, the
that's
state
what.
should cut them down. Go ahead, Norm.
Not to,
Yeah.
It's okay.
again, but I would just left the Special Service District, and I had a question concerning parking in that same area. The police chief is involved with the state. This is a state highway. Front Street is a state highway. He's waiting for their response to come down and do a walkthrough before they make any decisions. That was as of 7 o'clock tonight.
Well, if you can't have parking, then they should be ticketing the cars.
Last month you moaned about being ticketed.
Well,
Today you want a ticket.
let me just tell you, we talked about the Methodist Church. They have a lot of parking problems. They got a big sign on the bulletin board. Police are ticketing cars for parking on the sidewalk. You've got to have a uniform way of doing things. And I think
Great.
you said you were going to go talk to the chief.
I did.
So I'll
Yeah,
listen.
one was the state, he has to follow the state. The second, I brought up the Methodist Church. I said, if you're going to ticket people downtown, ticket those people as well. He said he'll inform his officers. What can I do?
Now, you've got the Front Street problem. You've got to figure out whether you're supposed to be marking that road or,
The state,
State
the
road.
state,
State
it's a
road.
state road,
We have to
they
give
can't
the
mark
state.
it.
well, it's marked on one side. The line
It
is
was
directly in the
marked-
middle. I measured.
Directly in the middle.
Directly in the middle. So if you mark on both sides, you had the same traffic lane.
I think we did that very, very long time ago.
Right.
We're working, Delphi behind you is biting her lip because one of her main economic development problems is parking. And it's, yes, Delphi.
The parking authority for the area that the gentleman is talking about, that is the last enforcement area, because on the back side of Victoria Station Cafe, where they are parking on the sidewalk, we are only allowing parking on that side. We are not allowing parking on the other side, which would be the north side, which is in front of the car dealership directly. And there are going to be 2 drop-off spaces in front of Bradley Theater to let elderly people off and deliveries into the antique place. But because we had initiated putting the signs up in front of Jeremiah's Antiques. The state cut them down, and we're in limbo now until the state says what we can do with that highway. But we were taking away taking away one side of the street parking and just allowing the other. But as far as parking on the sidewalk, I don't think it matters. That's supposed to be enforced, not parking on the sidewalk.
Yeah. So the only reason the spaces that are there is because we have to leave it the way it was before we put that sign up, until we can change things, until the state tells us we can change things. That area of the street is locked in time.
Well, when I grew up in this town, there was parking there.
Well,
I'll tell you, the valet
what's-
parking is working out
Very
pretty good.
nicely.
Nice.
That's
Very nice.
really saved a lot.
Mr. Deneau, you have something to say?
Of course I have something
Come on,
to
look
say.
how late it
I-
is.
Mr. Bolt took up my
All
time.
right. I got this clock going today.
Well, just a few minor things, and that is, at the Board of Finance meeting, the chairman made several requests or suggestions to the town administrator concerning like shrubbery and things that were obstructing the sidewalks and, I guess, vision on the roads. I know in my particular neighborhood, on the corner of Wicker and Woodstock Avenue, on the the west side, the house appears to be vacant. The privet hedge is that tall. The cars have to sit before the light like 20 feet before the intersection. You know, it's not at all visible as you turn there to make the right turn into town towards Cumberland Farms. That might want to be addressed by some department, if so it could. Also on Sabin Street, the Little River, again looking to the west, a house has a branch that goes out into the street, and you're on the crest of a hill as you're at that stop sign, observing traffic coming in both directions. That might need to be addressed. Also, just the final thing with regarding to Tar Park and the mowing, not the mowing, but the watering. From where I live, I observe the rec department mowing the fields, Murphy Field, quite often. I would say on an average of 3 times a week. I have some experience with turf management, and the length that you cut the grass and the frequency will most definitely affect the overall health of the grass. Several people made a comment later on that they felt that actually it was the umpire for the Junior League and the Little League, they made a comment that they cut the grass too short.
I'm sure it's not mowed 3 times a week.
I don't
Or I
know,
haven't time enough to get around and do them all once a week.
Well, I have observed down in Murphy Park, I'm not talking about Tar Park.
Well, you was just talking about it.
Well, it's the same people, I
I'm sure
imagine
Murphy
that,
Park,
that.
maybe different sections of Murphy Park get mowed at different times, because that's
The
pretty big
soil,
problem.
it's close to a river. There's going to be a lot more moisture, and the grass will grow a lot more quickly. I can tell you from past
We've been
experience.
doing it for 40 years, and I think it's been pretty good.
My comment is that I feel that the rec department maintenance, turf maintenance crew should review the proper standards and protocols in order to maintain healthy turf grass. I'm saying that it's time to maybe get a brush, of course, make sure your blades are sharpened, don't cut it too short, and don't cut it down to 1.5 inches, if it should be 2.5 inches. The taller that the grass grows, the healthier it will be, the more it will last.
I'm sure it's not-
Time's up, Mr. No.
Good enough, I'm
Thank
glad to
you.
get out of here.
Anybody like to make a motion to adjourn? So moved. All those in favor? Opposed? Nice having some.